Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. This episode is available digitally today, but you can pick up the physical version on the 22nd. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how you doing on this Nintendo Direct Day?
I'm doing so great. On Tuesday, we speculated it might happen, but not speculated too hard. We didn't want to get our hopes up.
We had some really soft pedaling speculation.
And yet, here we are, ready to talk about a new Nintendo Direct.
Now, I do have to say, I like to engage in some speculation from time to time. And then when I've speculated too much, then I get like cold feet. And I'm like, maybe we shouldn't get our hopes up. But every time you're like, I think there probably will be a Direct, it happens. You don't engage in this activity very often. But as soon as you're like, I don't know if we should talk too much about this, it'll just be announced by the time the episode posts. It always... What's your secret, I guess, is my question.
Oh, I wish I knew. I guess maybe with... Well, I'm wrong all the time is basically what it comes down to.
Yes.
Is that if you listen back to any amount of episodes of this podcast, you'll realize that I'm wrong constantly.
Okay,
so I'm sure I'm wrong as equally as I am right.
But that's when you are like putting out, when you're asserting a guess.
Right.
When you are like making an internal guess, there's something happening inside your head or your soul. And I'm reading it where I'm like, Mark means it this time.
Yeah, I guess.
I need to be better at reading you.
I think that's the lesson out of this.
That's the lesson.
I'm not going to change at all.
No. Well, why should you? Mark, we've launched a Patreon.
Yes, very excited about this. You can find it at patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society.
Yep, that's a place where we're going to be putting out new episodes of miniseries that we're doing one a month. We're starting with NCS Detective Club, where we're watching classic detective shows and talking about them. And so if you subscribe at the $8 or $16 level, you can listen to those and you can help us determine the direction of future miniseries and stuff like that. We got all kinds of other rewards there. Go to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society to check them out.
Thank you so much to our new patrons, Jake Gontarek, Connor McCabe, Patrice Mallet, Keith Murphy, Jamie Hill, Shu Chen, Silvergrass Moon, and Paul. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you everyone for jumping on board. Also, if you are not already in our Discord and you would like to get into our Discord, you can shoot us an email at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And we'll send you an invite, and then you can participate in that popping off today, talking about the Nintendo Direct. And most days, people are having good conversations about Nintendo stuff there. So get in there.
Finally, Patrick and I were both on the Keep Nintendo Weird podcast to talk about Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
We're on brand, Mark. Yeah, so go check that out. The episode dropped last week. We had a really good conversation about Rusty. Seth does a really good job with that podcast, and we had fun. Mark, no more screwing around, though. We've got a Nintendo Direct to discuss.
Let's do it.
So the Direct today was 2:00 p.m. ran for, they had advertised about 40 minutes. It was closer to 45, right? Like it seemingly, we were getting towards the end of 40 minutes, and I was like, we have not seen Zelda yet. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. And we did see Zelda. Not a lot of Zelda.
No.
But we did see Zelda.
No, still very much living in the, like, here are the vibes of it. Here are the, like, kind of setting and, like, story-ish details. And I guess some gameplay. Like, we saw some combat. We saw a little, like, traversal exploration. But still, Mark, I gotta say, I don't know what this game is moment to moment.
No, absolutely not.
But let's not start at the end. Let's start at the beginning. Let's address this thing chronologically. Actually, maybe first, how did you feel about this Direct?
So there were a lot of things in this that got me very excited, and I thought it was cool how many things were available, like today, right now.
Yes,
you can go do this. I think I spent more Direct money directly after this Nintendo Direct dropped than I ever have on like a Nintendo Direct before.
Yeah,
where it was
sure.
like, oh, all this stuff is available today. Let me go immediately take action on this.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to take action on and a lot of games that you could be playing today that you couldn't be playing yesterday. Some of it, like the Metroid Prime remake or remaster, does seem like that's something they could have announced earlier. Like, why not announce that in September for like release in February?
Oh, but it was so cool to have
was
it be
so
like
cool.
just
You're
like
right. You're right.
stealth dropped.
You're right. That is cool. I gotta say that is cool. All right. Should we start at the top here?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first thing that opens the direct before we get any interfacing from Nintendo personnel telling us what we're about to experience, we get a nice little trailer for Pikmin 4 and a date. Pikmin 4 is coming out July 21st this year. We got to see that new lower camera angle in action, which does make the game feel, at least from looking at the clips we have in this trailer, like an action game, right? Like it felt more immediate. We saw red Pikmin, we saw ice Pikmin, which I'm not so deep into Pikmin that I can tell whether those are new or not.
They spent enough time on it that I'm like, I guess these are new.
But they also showed us red Pikmin,
Yeah,
which
that's
have been
true.
there from the beginning.
That's true.
But so ice Pikmin can be used to freeze enemies as you're fighting them. They can also be used to like freeze the surface of like a body of water. So for traversal, that's pretty cool. But then Mark, like the turn where it's like, here's what makes Pikmin 4 different. Did you not think that this is what this was?
No, I know. I totally did. The reason, well, say what it is. Say what it is.
Some kind of dog thing appears.
And the reason I'm laughing is just because I'm like, I feel like, not that they are out of ideas, because I don't think that's true at all, but it does feel to me a little bit where they're like, how do we spice up this franchise?
Put a dog in it.
Yep, and it works. Don't get me wrong.
Honestly, it felt a little to me like the first time we had a Super Mario Odyssey trailer and they showed Cappy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, look, they're showing like Mario, he's running around, he's jumping, the world looks great. Cool. Then suddenly, here's the new thing.
I love that you can ride it.
I think you can ride the dog. I think you're riding it a lot. I think you spend most of the game riding this dog. Is my read. Like there's like running around the world. There's like in a boss fight, you're riding on this dog-like creature. And it's breaking barriers and stuff. Like I think the dog is a central gameplay element for Pikmin 4.
What I like about Pikmin, a series I have never played and don't really have a lot of desire to play,
Sure.
is how weird it looks.
So bizarre. And this game continues that tradition, right? Like looks very beautiful, and continues that like aesthetic of like maybe it's a ruined future or something. Like there are human objects in the world, but it's mostly like overgrown. I'm saying it's The Last of Us is what I'm saying, Mark. But yeah, we saw a couple little of these like Olimar style guys. No Olimar himself, but a bunch of different characters in this game. And then at the end, as the turnip ship takes off or whatever it's called, it goes to nighttime, which normally you're not around for nighttime. Nighttime, that's not your time to be there. You get out. Don't be there after dark.
Well, and this looks like there's good reason.
Because what are these things called?
Bulborb?
Bulborb, his eyes start glowing red. So there's some sort of demonic presence on this planet that only comes out at night. And maybe you'll have to deal with that in this game. I don't know.
Yeah. Pikmin, again, like a series that's been around since the GameCube, Miyamoto joint, and it, like, I feel like Pikmin 3 Deluxe was the best-selling game in the Pikmin series. So
yeah, sold a couple million copies.
Yeah, so the Pikmin series like has momentum, and yet it is definitely like a minor Nintendo franchise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the games that we're talking about today are sort of in that minor tier.
You played 3. You liked 3, right?
Yeah.
How excited are you for 4?
I think I need to just like see what else is coming out around that time. I mean, I am excited for it. Like it seems cool. I'm not the biggest Pikmin fan. I didn't finish 3. But yeah, I mean, I'm especially if it reviews well, like I will most likely check this out.
Well, up next was Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Volume 3, releasing February 15th, 2023.
There you go.
Includes a new character, Masha, who is a lapidurist.
Yeah, and not a lepidopterist.
No.
Which is a butterfly scientist. I think she studies rocks or something.
Yeah, but she is like styled after like a moth or a butterfly. Sure. Anyways, neither of us have played Xenoblade
No, we're in
Chronicles
over
3.
our heads here.
So enemy rush mode is also coming, which you earn more heroes and special abilities. And then the funniest part of this entire direct to me is when they introduced Volume 4 later this year, which features some kind of like big bad up in the sky in silhouette, like in front of the sun.
Yes.
And it is my favorite kind of anime, like of JRPG video game trailer nonsense, where to my mind, having not understanding the story of this game at all,
or the characters, or even really the tone,
it is characters that I do not know shouting non sequiturs at each other.
Yeah,
like, how dare you?
He's a machine. Is that good or is that bad?
It's like 15 seconds
Are
long.
you guys not machines too? Isn't everybody a machine here?
I am hopeful that it is meaningful to people who understand the context, but for somebody outside of the context, it did nothing to sell me on. Like, oh, should I be interested in whatever Volume 4 is later this year?
Gotta say, I do just appreciate like a little table tap to be like, hey, we're still working on that DLC. They'll have that right out for you. I do think that's good, and we get a couple of those throughout this presentation. So always just happy to see that they're paying attention to that. Next up, Samba de Amigo Party Central comes out this summer. Mark, you ever play any of these Samba de Amigo games?
I played it on the Dreamcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mark's played a Dreamcast game that I've not played?
And it was Samba de Amigo.
And were you playing it with Maraca controllers?
I was, yeah.
See, now that's what this is missing. Because you play this with Joy-Cons, you shake the Joy-Con as though they are maracas. Tell you what, though, I just want maracas.
Well, there's a Samba de Amigo. I mean, this for sure, the fact that there is no maraca, controller that comes with it is definitely, I don't know why I'm comparing the two, but it just means Donkey Konga is superior.
Well, yeah, but we've not had a Donkey Konga game in like 20 years.
That's true.
Here's the thing. We could duct tape some Joy-Con to some real maracas.
We could also, somebody out there could like 3D print little, remember in the Wii days when you could buy like
the
a
Wii Zapper.
Right, or just like a Wii Sports like accessory pack.
Yeah, one that
for like $20 for
like
like
a golf
48
club.
pieces.
Yes, that's right.
Somebody could do that with maracas as well. But did you play Samba de Amigo on Wii?
No, I never played it anywhere.
Okay, it's a rhythm game where you're shaking either maraca controllers on the Dreamcast or Wiimotes or now Joy-Con in a rhythm to the music, but also on like different locations.
Yeah,
right, like how you're
shaking
holding
up,
it,
you're shaking down,
and then it'll ask you to strike a pose, and so you have to move the Joy-Con into certain directions. Samba de Amigo on the Dreamcast was fun. I never played the Wii version. I like that this one seemingly has has multiplayer. And
well, yes, there's the world party mode, which is like a low score elimination kind of thing. So whoever has like the lowest score after a certain amount of time or whatever, like it cuts in half and then half again until it's last man standing kind of situation. They say that there are 40 songs in it from around the world, but I don't think do we hear any of those songs?
Well, I'm sure
there was some background music.
Yeah, there's some background music, which I'm assuming is one of the songs. But one of the things I am hopeful for in that it is music around the world is that licensing that maybe it'll have an interesting music selection because licensing won't be as expensive for some of the music. It's not like they're trying to do like top 40 hits.
Right. So you don't have to like pay Green Day to play maracas.
So you might have like actually good music.
Right.
To Samba to.
No, no disrespect to Green Day here, of course.
On this podcast, no. There's also a love tester mode, which what more needs to be said?
What indeed? Next up, Mark, is a Fashion Dreamer. This is where I just have to have a little chuckle to myself and just be like, Nintendo, you got all these Nintendo fans like super excited about like a thing happening, and they're like, fourth game we're gonna show. Fashion Dreamer.
I love it. It's just a testament to, I feel like Nintendo does a really good job of they talk the talk and walk the walk when it comes to, we have games for everybody.
Yes. So in this game, you are a fashion influencer, and you're collecting fashions and designs and clothes, and you can get them from other players. It's unclear to me if this was an online
Yeah,
multiplayer thing.
it seems like you can that there is some sort of like online component, and you are seeing people persist in the world, and you can go up to them, kind of like you do in the Splatoon, like worlds where you can walk up and you can see what they're wearing, you can be like fresh. And in this world, if you like it, then you add it to your collection, and you can like mix and match and all that kind of stuff. I never played the Style Savvy games
Mhm.
that were released on handheld by Nintendo previously, and so maybe they're very different from this. But Nintendo has not made those games were very successful. Nintendo has not made a new entry in them, and this feels to me like that is kind of
It's
filling
chasing that
that
same high.
area. Yeah.
This was the first of two times during this direct where I thought to myself, maybe I should get into Disney Dreamlight Valley. Like for whatever reason, like the design of the characters and the like general hangoutiness of the game, I was just like, yeah, maybe I should get into that Disney game, which we'll talk about again towards the end of the direct.
Up next was Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, releasing March 6th. So, I've never played the original Dead Cells game, but this is DLC that goes along with it. It is like full on Castlevania, which I
Yeah.
love.
It seems like it's Castlevania just in the Dead Cells engine.
Richter and Alucard, 12 covers of and over 90 pieces of music. You can pre-order it today. It's $10 on its own. $22.99 for the bundle of the DLC and the core Dead Cells game, which you have to have in order to play this DLC. But I love classic Castlevania. It just looks really cool. It looks really fun.
Well, and Dead Cells is well, it's a game that neither of us have played. Like, it obviously has a great reputation as like an indie action kind of like roguelike game. So maybe this is something that it's certainly something that I should look into. Mark, you're a bigger Castlevania fan than I am, right? Like, are you interested in
I wonder
digging in here?
if I could just if I can play Return to Castlevania DLC without having to like if I can just jump right into that without having to play like the base game in order to get to it, I don't know if that's the case, but I would be more interested in that instance. I just want the Castlevania content.
You just want to play as Alucard.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense to me. Next up is Tron Identity, which is coming first to consoles on Switch in April. This game was revealed back at that Disney presentation over the summer.
Oh.
But at the time, it was really just like quickly being like, "Hey, we're doing a Tron game. It's from Bithell Studios, so that's a Mike Bithell game." Which again, like, sort of crazy that like he's making a Tron game.
So who is because they point that out, like, who is Mike Bithell? I looked it up and I saw that he had made like a John Wick adventure game.
He made the John Wick game. He made Thomas Was Alone.
Oh, okay, got it.
So like he's got like the sort of like hardcore indie cred. Can do really moving and cool stuff with not a lot of like budget behind it. That's a very good gaming experience. This game is a narrative puzzle game that seems like you're making like decisions about like how the network look, I don't care about Tron, but the fact that there's like so much going into this, I'm like, what is this? What why are we like circling Tron right now? What's happening?
Yeah, I don't know either. Tron to me is one of those things that like aesthetically both movies were really cool, but story-wise they've always just been really tedious.
Yes.
And so on the one hand, I'm like, oh, that's interesting to set like an adventure, like a point and click adventure game there, because to me, if I was going to develop a Tron game,
it would be light cycles.
I would immediately go to like action, like something really dynamic. But this totally could be really cool. I love the aesthetic of Tron. There's just never been a story that like made me excited to go to that world.
We're not Tron lore hounds, I guess is what Mark is saying, right? Like,
that's right.
So anyway, this is coming out in April, and it's coming first on consoles to Switch.
The next one, this had been rumored. I feel like there were a lot of things in this direct that were rumored,
yes,
and confirmed in this direct. And this one I'm very excited for. It is a re-release of Ghost Trick Phantom Detective coming summer 2023. It's coming to Switch and other consoles, but I think Switch is a really good place to play this because the original Ghost Trick in its original release was a Nintendo DS game, and so the ability to use a touchscreen interface I think will be really clutch. But Ghost Trick is a game from 2010. It's from the creator of the Ace Attorney series. It is really fun. It's another like puzzle game with a cool narrative around it. And I don't really want to spoil that much about it because I like it so much, other than to say I really recommend people pick it up if you enjoy puzzle games.
This also starts an interesting little trend that continues throughout the direct. Detective games are in right now. Mark, I think this bodes well for you and I as we are on like a detective kick at the moment, especially as we're recording NCS Detective Club. But also, we play games, so like it's all adding up. Mark.
Yes, it's all coming together.
The next game on here falls right into this mold. Deca Police, coming out sometime this year. It is and these are from the eShop listing. It is quote crime suspense RPG from Level 5, the developers of the Professor Layton series.
This looks truly crazy.
Yes, because it is a turn-based RPG, but like definitely has some like detective game mechanics where you're like putting together clues and like accusing people of crimes. And it's got that great level 5 character design where it's like, it's such a specific slice of the anime pie that is, I don't know, the look of it is very, very appealing.
Also, you like turn into a cat.
The dude turns into a cat at one point. His name is Harvard. Like, I don't know. It seems crazy.
But also, if like the combat, you're like, I understand that they're criminals, presumably, but in the combat, you're like beating people with nightsticks. It looks like it's just
right.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, a cab applies to Deca Police as well.
For the eShop listing, it says the main character, a rookie detective named Harvard, hunts down criminals in a huge open-world crime-ridden city, traveling back and forth between physical and virtual reality. Look forward to a mysterious detective story with investigations in virtual space.
That's another part that we just sort of glossed over, is that there is a virtual reality and a normal reality sort of running side by side, and like, are they intersecting with each other? This seems bonkers.
I hope that this is good.
I hope this is good. I hope this is good.
Because it looks like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It comes out, sometime in 2023.
And then next up, we check back in with Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon, still coming out March 17th. The game still looks cool.
Yeah, I
Are you souring on it?
No, I just don't care about this at all.
Yeah.
I do think it looks cool, but yeah, I don't know.
So you control young Bayonetta going by Cereza, and you have a demon, Cheshire. You're controlling them both at the same time. Cereza cannot attack, but she can bind enemies for the demon to rip apart with his attacks. So a kind of cool mechanic there.
Up next was Splatoon 3 paid DLC expansion pass, which we knew was coming, right?
They had said that there was going to be paid DLC, like large. What did they say? Yeah, like large.
There was, or like at least one large scale DLC.
Yeah.
Anyways, they officially revealed the expansion pass. It comes
seemingly just calling it expansion pass.
Yeah,
as well.
And it comes in 2 waves, which you can pre-order today. So wave 1 is Inkopolis, coming in spring 2023, and initially, like, I love this, but also it doesn't make any sense to me as paid DLC.
Yes, because what it is the hub world from the original Splatoon, from Splatoon 1 on the Wii U, and you have access to all the same like items in the shops, and still have access to the Salmon Run and doing the tabletop Splatfest thing. What's that called? The table.
I can't remember what the card game is called.
Yeah, the card game.
I can't remember what it's called.
But so you have access to all that stuff. It's just within the hub world that is Inkopolis. Seemingly, there's no new gameplay mode.
No. Yeah, it seems like it is like you go to Inkopolis.
Yeah.
It is Inkopolis. You have the the sisters there.
Squid Sisters, yeah.
You have the Squid Sisters there, and they perform during, like Splatfest and everything.
Right.
So it's just, and you go to the stores and it's the same stores and shopkeepers from Splatoon 1,
But they're
selling the
yeah.
same exact items that are available in Splatoon 3. So it's just like an alternate hub world if you prefer Inkopolis over whatever the one is called in Splatoon 3.
Right. Splatsville,
yeah.
But it's like, why? It's just so odd. Where it's
yeah,
like,
I just don't get it.
Where it's like it doesn't feel like it's new content, right? Especially because it is, strictly speaking, not new content. It is old content in that Inkopolis already existed.
Yeah. So yeah, I
don't know what this is or who it's for.
No, that's the thing, is like I don't understand why it's like if they added this as like a free update.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I'd be like, oh, like, are we gonna get the like Splatoon 2 as well? And then you just have like
so
all
cool.
three hubs, and you can choose whichever one you want to be in. Content's all the same. It all makes sense. The paid DLC part, one of two, is just like a hub world with no new content. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Well, and so it makes me wonder if like the real paid DLC here, the real like content that you're paying for, is Wave 2, which has no date. They named it Side Order, and they are advertising it here as like this really trippy, like short black and white thing.
I loved the little trailer for this.
So cool.
You're in this completely color desaturated world, like everything is just white, including your avatar, like your character. And so I'm assuming you're going to be inking color all over the place.
Could be, yeah.
But it is unlike anything we've seen from Splatoon before. It seems very cool. I am very, like, I probably will end up buying the DLC just to see what this is.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, honestly, I will probably just wait for a review and find out, is it as hard as Octopath expansion, because I was not able to complete that.
Right. Well, so that's what I'm saying is like if they could have been like the paid DLC is Side Order and like here's this and given us like even just a little inkling of like what the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is going to be like, just a couple seconds, and then be like, but in the meantime, please enjoy like Inkopolis. Like that could still be part of the paid DLC. I think just the way it's being presented as like, here are two waves. The first wave is just this hub world, and the second wave we can't tell you about.
Yeah.
Like right now, you can buy the whole expansion pass now. I'd say wait.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Next up, Mark, Disney Illusion Island, coming out July 28th, 2023 this year. This is another one that was revealed in that Disney showcase from over the summer. It's a 4-player hippity-hoppity game where you play as Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy. It seems like they all have different special abilities, but are generally just all kind of the same. Some things that really stuck out to me as part of like the co-op of the game: you can hug each other to regain health, you can play leapfrog to access new areas, and you can drop a rope to lend a helping hand. I'm locked into this, Mark. It looks adorable.
It does look really fun. It's only $40.
Perfect.
Which is kind of crazy. I think it's interesting that it has its own art style. Like, it is not aping the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. It's not classic Mickey Mouse. It's just like Disney Illusion Island is doing its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar to, although you're right, not exactly like the like Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, but like kind of close to it. But yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, this is another one where I hope it's good.
Oh man, I know. I hope it's good. There were some times where like there's a boss fight on the screen and it's like everyone is in like a different quadrant trying to like figure out how to attack the boss. Where I'm like, how could this be bad?
I know.
It seems like
it has everything going for it.
Yes,
it do for sure. Up next was Fire Emblem Engage Expansion Pass DLC, getting a little bit more information on Wave 2, which launched yesterday, including the... Well, actually, Patrick, I'll let you run through them.
I'll take it over. So it introduced a couple of new emblems. Hector, the Emblem of Strength, who is from Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade, aka the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem, Soren Emblem of Acumen from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and Camilla Emblem of Revelation from Fire Emblem Fates. Those are all available today. Obviously, or not obviously, but all these emblems have their own like paralog missions that you have to complete in order to get them. So there's more game to play and a reward at the end of them. Wave 3, which is coming further down the line, includes Crom and Robin Bonds. Emblem of Bonds. Those are characters from Fire Emblem Awakening. And Veronica, Emblem of Heroes from Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game. So it's neat to see that in these waves of DLC, it's all characters from Fire Emblem games that have been available in North America or outside of Japan, I guess.
Yep. And the Blazing Blade, or like the GBA Fire Emblem game,
Yep,
will be coming in the future.
Yep, we'll be talking about that shortly.
Yeah.
But so yeah, these are like all semi-accessible Fire Emblem games, with the exception of the Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn character Soren. And then the final wave of DLC, Wave 4, also no date for that, but there will be new story missions as part of the Fell Xenologue. And Xenologue is language that they use in these games to indicate it's like a story from like outside of the world.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know if it's going to be like universe hopping or what, or some kind of weird crossover. But Xenologue triggers to me like you're going somewhere,
Interesting.
not this world.
I think they said that all of the expansion pass content for Fire Emblem Engage will be out this year. So
That's
I think
great.
Everything will be out by the end of 2023.
If the second wave is out now, and the game has been out for just a couple weeks, like, yeah, it seems like we're going to get all of this in not that much time.
The next reveal was Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, which is first on consoles on Switch in June 2023.
Yeah, this is some sort of like narrative game with branching paths and like magic powers and stuff. Seemed neat. It's got cool music by Celeste Selena Rain. So if that kind of thing does it for you.
Yeah, I mean, Celeste has an amazing soundtrack. So
one of the best.
That definitely had my ears perked up. But yeah, so Harmony: Fall of Reverie, June of this year.
Next up is Octopath Traveler 2, still coming out February 24th. There's a demo available now. Mark, I'm definitely going to check out this demo. I find that with this kind of game, Octopath, Triangle Strategy, Bravely Default 2, it was the name of the game. All I need is the demo. By the time I finish the demo, I've gotten my fill.
Next was We Love Katamari REROLL plus Royal Reverie, where you play as the young king of all cosmos. There's a photo mode. I loved...
Well, do you play as the king of all cosmos in the whole game, or just as part of the Royal Reverie?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I loved the original Katamari Damacy when I played REROLL, which was released on Switch 2018, a few years ago, like a long time ago. I haven't played any of the other games, but I am excited to check this out. And if you've never played any of the other games before, there's a free game trial for North American Nintendo Switch Online subscribers for the original Katamari Damacy REROLL from the 20th to the 26th of February.
So get on that. Next up was Sea of Stars, which, Mark, this is a game that I've been like predicting for Indie World showcases and third-party directs, anything for a while now, and here it comes in a full Nintendo Direct. Sea of Stars has a release date of August 29th this year. Just a reminder, Yoshinori Mitsuda guest composed some tracks for the game. There's a demo for this out now.
And this is the RPG set in the universe of The Messenger, right?
Yes, and made by the Messenger Studio, and sort of aping the style, both gameplay and graphical, of games like Chrono Trigger.
We then moved to Omega Strikers, releasing April 27th. It's a free-to-play online soccer game. I think they call it more like air hockey type game. Seems to be 3-on-3. I don't really know I don't have much to say about this one.
I mean, the free-to-play, always online, like sports title, like I'm not really interested. But it comes out April 27th. Next up is the Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection coming out June 1st. It includes Etrian Odyssey. Oh boy. Etrian Odyssey HD 1, 2, and 3. The games are also available separately. You don't have to buy the collection if you don't want to. There are new difficulty options and auto mapping. So the way these games work is it's like a dungeon crawler first-person perspective where they were originally DS and 3DS games, right? Where you were drawing the map of the dungeon that you're in on the bottom screen. There's a new mode in this where you can have it auto map, which seems like it's sort of defeating what was like cool about the game in the first place, but also maybe it's just necessary.
Well, the mapping, I wonder if it has a touchscreen mode, because the mapping otherwise looked to me kind
Cumbersome,
of
yeah,
kind of like cumbersome, and so I can see how auto mapping would be good for that, but also just for opening up these games to a whole new audience. I've never played any of them before.
Yeah, me neither. But it's obviously they made a bunch of them, and they're coming back in HD.
Yep. Hey, we finally got another release date for Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp.
I love another release date because we've had a couple of them before.
Have, yes, and the latest one is April 21st of this year. I gotta say, brave of Nintendo. If it were me, this is one that I would just drop. Why leave it to chance for more world events between now and April 21st to delay this game any further?
Yeah, I mean, it is nice just to see that they're like, yep, the game's coming out. The cutscenes and like everything for this game still look great.
Mm-hmm.
Like character designs are fired. Like it looks. I'm excited for this game to come out. Speaking of that sort of thing, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Still coming out February 24th. We got more information about. It seems like they're kind of like loading this game up with like extra stuff, so it's not just a remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, right?
That's right. We're getting a new epilogue feature that's focused on Magalore. So it's called Magalore Epilogue: The Interdimensional Traveler. And I cannot remember the context of this, Patrick, but there was some sort of like, this was years ago, some sort of interview or something that we were talking about in a news episode.
Okay.
And it came up in the quote from a developer or something where it was like, everybody remembers the touching story of Magalore. And we were both like, who's Magalore? Because I had never played the original Return to Dreamland was a Wii game.
Well, here's the thing.
And I had never played it before.
It sounds like he's an interdimensional traveler. And this was in a world before Everything Everywhere All at Once, so we couldn't understand it.
No, we couldn't. And it was
it.
Before Kirby month, so our hearts hadn't fully opened to Kirby. Anyways, this sounds like an opportunity for Magalore, for me to open my heart to Magalore. Magalore, the interdimensional traveler, has lost his powers, must escape the realm between dimensions. You start with basic attack and jumping, but the rest of your powers are gone. You can collect magic points by defeating enemies and to restore his powers, and you kind of like choose in which order you want to restore his different abilities.
Which is like, this is an interesting sort of like take on the Kirby formula, because, you know, Kirby's always like, he's max power to begin with, right? Like all you gotta do is like swallow an enemy and now you can use his powers. Magalore is going to be earning his own abilities back like piece by piece, which seems like it could be fun.
Over 20 stages, this epilogue will also support 4-player local co-op, and you have to clear the main story mode before you can access the epilogue.
Which, this is a common sin of Kirby games, gating its other game modes behind you beating the story mode. Luckily, the story modes are always easy.
Yes, and also this one kind of makes sense because first you have to understand the touching story of Magalore before you can complete his journey in Magalore Epilogue.
All right, I'll buy that.
There are lots of demos today, it felt like, which is awesome. A demo available now for Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, where you can try out the local multiplayer.
Then after that, we pop back out. By the way, this whole time, the thing has been hosted by Shinya Takahashi, who we didn't mention because we were so excited to talk about Pikmin at the top of the show. But so he pulls us out of this trailer and is like, okay, we're going to talk now about Nintendo Switch Online. And then we cut to a screen that shows us a Game Boy. Mark, Game Boy library is coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
Not just Game Boy library, but the Game Boy Advance library as well.
Well, that's coming to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack.
Yes, but remember, way back
So far back.
in September of 2021, reports showed up online, Nintendo Life, some podcasts, Eurogamer confirmed it, said, our sources have confirmed that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and then nothing.
We did an episode where you and I predicted the launch lineup of the Game Boy. We just said Game Boy / Game Boy Color. So we predicted it. I can't tell you how accurate we are.
I'm gonna guess not that accurate, but
this is a weird list of games to start with.
It's an interesting list for sure.
It's
but
small. It's a small list.
Do you think so? I actually don't think it's that. I don't think it's that bad.
It is. The previous libraries launched, not the Nintendo 64, but the NES and the Super NES launched with like 20 games.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm personally just so happy to have Game Boy games. There are a few on here that I'm interested to play. But Game Boy Advance, I am very excited to have this. That was one of the things that I was like really bummed I never got a new Nintendo 3DS. No, a Wii U. They were only available on Wii U,
That's
right?
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never had a Wii U. So I am very excited to have at least some of these games available and the possibility of more games being added in the future.
So let's talk about the lineups for these games. So or for these libraries. First, the Game Boy, and these launched today, by the way. They're there right now. We got on Game Boy we have Tetris, Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, Link's Awakening DX, Gargoyle's Quest, Game & Watch Gallery 3, Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare.
Sure.
Metroid 2, Return of Samus, Wario Land 3, and Kirby's Dream Land.
I like that it is both, it is both Game Boy and Game Boy Color games.
Yes.
That in the future we'll get a mix. I think actually most of the ones that they showed as coming soon were all Game Boy Color games.
So those coming soon are The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons, and Oracle of Ages, the Pokemon TCG, and Kirby Tilt and Tumble. Yeah, those are all Game Boy Color games.
Yep. And
a lot of notable games missing from this list.
Yes.
So I wonder, and there is a Pokemon game here. So like Red and Blue, Yellow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Silver, Gold.
I don't know.
They out there somewhere, Mark?
Yeah.
You think they're out there somewhere?
I don't think they're. I think in our original list I did say like one of them would be on there, but I don't think they will because I think they would have to have what do they call it? Pokemon Home capabilities now.
They wouldn't have to.
Maybe.
I mean, they didn't on the original Game Boy.
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited for Wario Land 3. That is the one from. I mean, I love Super Mario Land 2, but of these games, that is the one that I am most excited to have access to.
I've never played Wario Land 3. I've played Wario Land 2, and I've played Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land. But yeah, like, don't you think it's weird that the original Super Mario Land isn't in here? No Kirby's Dream Land 2?
Yeah, I
mean,
it is,
Kid Icarus, Myths and Monsters?
No, that's not surprising to me.
Okay.
It is surprising to me that the first Super Mario Land isn't on here. I'm kind of surprised that they got Tetris.
I am
very happy
because they've never re-released Game Boy Tetris before. This is the first time they've been able to do that. So I guess good on them for that. What about where's Alleyway?
I'm gotta tell you, Patrick, I don't care.
What?
I do not care. I like that there's a Game & Watch gallery in here. I'm gonna check out this Alone in the Dark, the New Nightmare game. Can't imagine it's very good, but I love that they have it on here. But like you mentioned, Game Boy is available to anyone who is subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online.
Right. Last thing before we move on, we got to get Mole Mania on this thing. We got to get Donkey Kong 94 on this thing.
Yes, for sure. Also, the Game Boy has 3 display filters, so you can play with the original Game Boy, where it has like a very strong green.
Mm-hmm.
You can play with the Game Boy Pocket, which is more like if you had like the Castlevania collection that had the Game Boy games on it. It's more grayscale.
Yeah,
easier on the eyes. That's available. And then finally, the Game Boy Color filter, how any Game Boy game was compatible with the Game Boy Color and added some tinting to it.
Yeah. And then, of course, is also always the option to power your Switch with 4 AA batteries.
Yes,
Yeah.
always the option. And then all the Game Boy some of the Game Boy games will support 2-player local or online play.
Which it just seems like it's consistent with what we've seen for multiplayer on the rest of the Nintendo Switch Online libraries. Then, Mark, Game Boy Advance. This is so exciting.
Oh, I was so happy to see this.
Again, the list of games that are coming out for it immediately is a little like, okay, all right, fine. But here they are, coming out today, out already. Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, which includes all of the e-reader levels.
Which that is the piece I'm excited for because I've never played them.
Me too. And just as like a little recap of what that is, the Game Boy Advance Super Mario Brothers 3 came with a little like electronic, like magnetic card reader, and these cards that you could get. Where do these cards come from?
I'm not sure.
You could get these cards.
I maybe just bought them in like packs from
like packs or like Nintendo Power or something. I don't know. Who knows where the cards came from? We're not looking it up. And you could scan them to get access to levels and stuff. It's sort of a proto amiibo kind of thing. But in all of the virtual console releases of this thing so far, you've just been able to access all of them, which means there are brand new Super Mario Brothers 3 levels for you to play on your Switch right now.
WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, which is the first WarioWare game. I've never played it. So excited to have this
Very
one.
Cool. Then Kururin, which is a cool game with like a spinning baton that you have to guide through like tunnels and stuff. Seems very cool.
Mario Kart Super Circuit. What they call it out. It's the first portable Mario Kart game. One of the worst.
And then Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, the RPG.
And then finally, The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, which I have started a couple of times but never finished.
Right, but now that you can like rewind a little bit, maybe you think you're gonna get into it?
Do you think so? They didn't call that out.
Ooh, I hope
I
so.
hope so too, because I know they don't for the Nintendo 64, and I wish every time I play that it had that ability. I'm assuming that with these games,
you would think they would, because with the Super Nintendo you could. And then future GBA games: Metroid Fusion,
yes,
baby, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Fire Emblem, which is Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, and Golden Sun.
But I feel like you got Metroid Fusion. They've got to give us Zero Mission at some point.
Well, and they got to give us the other Fire Emblem game, the Sacred Stones, and they got to give us the second Golden Sun, because it's like the other half of like a duology where it's like the same events from a different character's perspective. So yeah, I mean, they're showing us these other games. I'm confident we'll go beyond what we have right here.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of hope that we get this for the.
We're getting worked up. We're getting excited here. It's okay.
Donkey Kong Land.
Yeah, why
I've
not
never
the
played
Donkey
those.
Kong Land games? Come on. Okay, then so that closes out the Nintendo Switch Online. We move on to what I'm gonna call like the megaton announcement of the show.
Totally.
Metroid Prime Remastered is out now.
It's real and it's available now.
Digitally, it's available now. They are releasing it physically. You can pick it up on the 22nd of February. A digital copy and presumably a physical copy will set you back $40. There are multiple control schemes, where you can use normal like kind of dual stick controls, or something that quote recreates the feel of the original game. Which, okay.
Plus, they say there are others, but like no mention of motion controls anywhere there.
Right, interesting. So maybe not the Wii controls that were part of the Metroid Prime trilogy.
Also, you said that you think it'll be the same cost physically. I bet it'll be $50.
You think it'll be $50? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, how impossibly cool that this is just here.
Yeah, I can't. We've heard rumors of something like this for a long time. Man, Metroid Prime trilogy was rumored at the Game Awards 2018.
Yeah.
I think,
Oh
you know,
my
and then it
God.
never shut up. And then a couple of years ago, the rumor morphed to be like, oh, that was never true, but they're working on like a remaster. And that's partly what got Retro the job of Metroid Prime 4 when they moved it from Bandai Namco Singapore.
But that was also 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Or
so-
4 years or something.
So like that, this is real, that it is out today, that it is playable. I am very excited because it has been a long time since I
Same.
have played the original Metroid Prime, and this is one that like I immediately downloaded.
Yeah,
As soon as the direct ended, I grabbed my Switch and was like, it was just all in on it.
I've not been home at all today. I have so many things I need to download and like check in on when I get home. I'm not going to bed, I don't think.
Yeah,
tonight.
I've been making my way through GoldenEye, but that is backburnered for sure. I'm
Oh,
ready
yeah.
to jump into Metroid Prime.
Sorry, Fire Emblem Engage. Although there's new content in that I want to
Yeah,
get to.
that's
So
right.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So anyway, all of that's very exciting. Mark, where do you think this puts us on our Metroid Prime 4 journey?
So
At least a year, right?
At least a year. Definitely not this year. But it the fact that I think it's interesting that we didn't hear a peep about it.
Yeah.
Not even like a whisper,
Right.
not a teaser trailer,
Right.
like nothing. But I also don't think that it is. I think it's still in the works. You know, sure next year, why not?
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Master Detective Archives Rain Code coming out June 30th. What is this?
We saw this in a previous direct or some sort of Nintendo presentation before. It's the new game from the creator of Danganronpa.
Right. Okay.
And you are Yuma, a trainee detective who's like haunted by Shinigami, a spirit, and you solve the strange incidents in Kanai Ward, a city controlled by an evil corporation. Team up with other detectives, each with their own supernatural ability. There's like dungeon crawler sections with combat. It looks eclectic, I will say.
Yeah, this one didn't really speak to me that much, even though it is in that detective groove that we were talking about before.
But it releases June 30th.
Next up, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster coming out this summer. Mark, this had been rumored for kind of a while, either as just a Baten Kaitos remaster or a collection of the two. We now see that it's a collection of both of the GameCube RPGs developed by Monolith Soft before they were acquired by Nintendo. It's got a card-based combat system. I don't know if either of us are going to end up messing around with it, but it's cool that this game's getting a second life.
Yeah, man, I wish I had both time for two RPGs and that I liked card combat systems.
Right.
Because this is one that I remember reading about it in Nintendo Power in like the GameCube days. One of those rare like third-party RPG exclusives for GameCube, and the fact that it was developed by Monolith Soft, which is now part of Nintendo. I think the games have pretty good reputations, but I just can't imagine that I'm ever going to play either of these.
No, I mean just no. The thing that this gives me like a lot of, and actually the entire direct, it seems very backwards facing, right? We didn't get any new game first party announcements in this, right? We got a lot of like information about DLC, and we got announcements that are big announcements, but the Game Boy library is an old library. Those are old games. Metroid Prime is an old game. We didn't find out about anything new from Nintendo. But, I mean, we're always asking them to be more mindful of their past, of their legacy, of shepherding their long-lost libraries into the modern era. And that's exactly what's happening here. And that makes me so happy.
Up next was Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, from releasing sometime in 2023.
Feels like a Family Club Detective Club
It does.
subtitle.
Ooh, The Girl Who Steals Time.
Yes.
That'd be a good one. This is another level 5 game.
Level 5 all over this presentation.
Explore a fantasy island where you meet a mysterious girl. Travel between past and present to make the island your own. You can swap between roles to develop the island.
Sure.
Yep.
Speaking of level 5, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. Really quick trailer. No date, no indication really of anything.
No, it's just like a world of Steam and then Professor Layton, and
Saunters in.
and that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
But nice to see Level 5 has struggled recently, and so nice to see a lot of content from them, and kind of nice to see them revisiting Professor Layton. I didn't play all of the games, but the ones that I did experience, like, they are good fun and they're well made, and they have like a fun kind of like European animation style to them. So I think it'll be cool to see what this one turns out to be.
Yeah, and it's going to be a while before we see anything of it, right? Like there was literally no information here other than like Layton's back, baby. Next, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 4 coming out spring 2023. They're leading it off by saying, here's a new course.
Yeah, they continue to throw curveballs at us. I don't really know what to expect with the Booster Course Pass anymore.
No, I mean,
in a great way.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. And this is less because we've gotten courses before that have premiered in 8 Deluxe and then also moved over into Tour. But it seems like this is just a brand new track, conceptually new.
Yeah, so conceptually new track in Yoshi's Island. And then a new character Birdo, who was originally in Double Dash, so has been in Mario Kart before, but has not been represented in Mario Kart 8 all this time in the past 10 years.
Also, looks like Birdo is going to be represented as like one of the multiple color characters, like Shy Guy or Yoshi, where you can pick what color your Birdo is. Next, we get a montage, a little sizzle reel. We'll just burn through these pretty quick. We see Minecraft Legends coming out April 18th.
We see Blanc again, which comes out on February 14th. I cannot believe the coverage that Blanc has gotten in Nintendo presentations.
Someone is spending some real money to get like Blanc pushed in front of us over and over again. I recall at the time being like, that looks cute, we should pick it up. And now I've seen it 2 more times and I'm like, I don't know.
I think we saw this game for the first time in like 2021.
Yeah, do you think they're worried about like it's a black and white game with like no dialogue and no like text on screen?
Who would be worried about that?
I don't know. Exec suits somewhere?
Well, they're not worried. Like, are you saying that they're worried so they're like, let's compensate for it by
putting it in front of, yeah.
Well, what does Nintendo care?
Well, if Nintendo gets a bag of money that says for Blanc.
I think you're right.
Next up, and this is a reel, is Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection out April 14th.
Have a Nice Death Day, which we have seen in previous presentations on March 22nd.
I believe it is just Have a Nice Death.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I think I did that last time we talked about this game as well. WBSC Baseball Power Pros is available now. Disney Dreamlight Valley makes a return to a Nintendo presentation, announcing there's going to be a new realm. They don't say what it is, but like Simba and Nala are there, and it's coming out in April.
Let's circle back to that in a second. Tales of Symphonia Remastered wraps up the sizzle reel coming out on February 17th. Mark, this is the second time in the Direct where I'm like, maybe I should get into Disney Dreamlight Valley. Let's talk about it.
Okay. I feel like this is a game that if I got into, I could potentially really get into it.
Yeah, but really get into it in just like a pleasant, chill,
right,
having a nice time kind of way.
Yeah. Like there have been...
Is that so bad?
It doesn't sound that bad.
It sounds good.
It's funny the parts that like have been tipping points for me. And one of it was the trailer that they showed, I think in another Nintendo presentation, where somebody was like taking a selfie with Ursula.
That's cool.
It just seems nice.
Yes. I mean, look, you and I are both like Disney fans. We both like theme parks. And I had a great time playing Animal Crossing. This seems like the intersection of all those things. Like, I don't know. I think our days are numbered. Might be kind of a high number, but I think we're going to get to it. We're going to get to this show being a Disney Dreamlight Valley show.
It does feel inevitable.
And then after all this, Mr. Takahashi closes out the presentation by saying, we have one more thing to show you. This is it. And I appreciate this, that they're not doing a like, oh, and one more thing after like everything else. They're now just like, here we go. This is the last thing. Shut up about it. And of course, we see Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, out on May 12th.
So again, we were kind of talking about this at the top of the show. Like, this is the 4th or maybe 5th time that Tears of the Kingdom has been shown in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it is just kind of like we still don't know anything about this game.
Right.
I have to say that some of the stuff that they showed in here some of it was intriguing, but I personally am feeling about Tears of the Kingdom the way I was feeling about Splatoon 3, which is that I am excited for this because it is a sequel or like a follow-up to Breath of the Wild, which is one of my favorite gaming experiences, if not the favorite gaming experience I have ever. But nothing I have seen of Tears of the Kingdom in particular has me super excited.
Outside of the things that remind you of the best time you've ever had gaming while playing Breath of the Wild.
Right, but the most enjoyable experience at Breath of the Wild was the sense of discovery.
Totally, yeah.
And as soon as all of Hyrule was opened, I enjoyed the game, but it was not the same experience for me.
Right.
I am a little bit nervous that because it is like the Hyrule that we know, but with verticality added, and again, there could be way, way, way more to it. They're just not showing us anything of it. And so that's kind of where I'm at with this, where like, don't get me wrong, I pre-ordered Tears of the Kingdom. I'm super excited for Tears of the Kingdom. But it just isn't clear to me like what the selling point of Tears of the Kingdom is other than more Breath of the Wild, which isn't a bad thing. I think I was
it still sounds like a very good thing, but like, yeah, there is the like, where is the turn? I feel like we haven't experienced the turn yet. The dog-like creature in Pikmin 4, the Cappy, we don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, like look, there's a lot in this trailer. There's like the three-headed dragons. There's those like the things that are maybe they're the same thing that are like flying around and holding bokoblins. The world looks a lot more like aggressively angry.
Yes.
We see Link on horseback and the wind is like whipping and the weather is like really bad. Like I don't know, but yeah, and we see this weird like truck like thing that
like Link is like driving around.
Yeah, like it's like a that he's like driving around on,
and another one that he's like flying around in the sky.
So it's like but we had the motorcycle in Breath of the Wild. Like I am just waiting to understand this game, and I am really looking forward to it because I love Breath of the Wild, but I wish that I just had more information about what this game's deal is.
Well, and like it's so like we live in such a different like information environment regarding this game as we did Breath of the Wild, like because Breath of the Wild was available to play at E3 the summer before it came out, in March, before the Switch was even revealed. So like people had an opportunity to try to explain to fans what the experience of go anywhere, do anything actually felt like, right? And like how true that was to the experience of the game. And that's such a big hook, that's such a crazy hook that like maybe you don't really understand it until you're playing the game. And maybe that'll also be the experience here. But I just wish we had more.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like every time we see it, and especially this time, it's just like, yeah, I get it. There's verticality. His arm's a little weird, but
the arm's very weird. Let's not undersell
it. So I'm ready to learn more, I guess. And, we still have 3 months, and I'm sure it would not surprise me if we have a just big blowout like we have seen for other games where it's a direct that's dedicated purely to Tears of the Kingdom. But I'm ready for that. I'm ready to kind of like understand more about this game.
It was kind of confirmed by the listing. The game is pre-orderable now. So the price for the game was listed. It is $69.99. The rumors that sort of surfaced earlier this week that it's a $70 game borne out to be true. Mark, you were telling me before we started recording, you don't think this is a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, look, Nintendo. Yeah, I don't. Do I wish that all games would be $60 for the rest of time? Yes, sure, that'd be great. But I saw when the price was leaked on like the Nintendo's online store listing that it was $70, that people were expecting that they would like address it in some way in like the direct, like explain why it's going up to $70.
What a bad move.
Yeah, like it does not surprise me. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's $70. I think
Especially when Nintendo is clearly exploring this price scale, right? Like
right.
they just released Metroid Prime remaster for $40.
Right. Yeah. And you know that is what I honestly thought. I was texting, or friend of the show June and I were texting during the direct, and as soon as, Metroid Prime went up for order, before I saw what the price was, I told him I'm sure it's $60. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Yeah.
So when it was $40, that was a super pleasant surprise. Yeah, like I don't think every Nintendo game should be $70 going forward. But do I think that Tears of the Kingdom will be worth $70? Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
probably. Also worth noting, the game vouchers that have gone on sale for Nintendo, where you can pay $100 and that gets you 2 first-party
If you're a
games.
Nintendo Switch Online subscriber.
Thank you. This game is eligible for that. It can be one of your 2 games. So if you buy Tears of the Kingdom and a $60 game, you're getting a $130 value for $100. Like pretty good. The deal, which is a pretty good deal, gets a little bit better. And all of the pre-orderable games, or I guess all of the pre-orderable games are voucher eligible. So I'm talking Advance Wars. I'm talking all the other things.
Yeah, like Kirby. Like what
Kirby,
I did is I picked up I bought a vouchers, and I redeemed it for Tears of the Kingdom, and I redeemed it for Kirby. Because I knew I was going to get those games.
Right. Yes. And there was one more too that seemed relevant to me, and now I can't remember what it was.
Pikmin 4.
Pikmin 4. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So all those games are eligible for vouchering. So take advantage of that if you are a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber and in North America.
And if you want to, well, also I think worldwide, because they never went away worldwide.
Oh, good point.
They're just coming back in North America. Another thing to note is if you want to spend even more money on Tears of the Kingdom,
you can.
There's a collector's edition containing various items that will, what they say is release on launch day. It's $130. What was not clear to me is, did that mean that it will not be available for pre-order, that it'll only be available on launch day, or that they're just saying it'll launch simultaneously with the base game?
Interesting. Well, because they do. I don't think Nintendo is like their website is selling these things, because they said to check with like your retailer.
Oh, got it.
For that kind of information. So there will be a bloodbath at some point when these things go up for pre-order. I have the image from the direct here. It comes with the game itself, a steelbook cover, a poster, a pin set, and like some kind of art book. So kind of the basic stuff you might expect from a collector's edition. $130 that's a steep price tag.
How much was the
$100 for the Fire Emblem Engage?
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. But it didn't include a pin set, right?
Did not include a pin set. That's true. No pins. The other besides the poster and art book, which were the same, there were like cards, which were.
That's right.
But that's like a paper good. Like that's demonstrably cheaper than pins.
I mean, still $30 for a pin set is pretty steep. But the Fire Emblem like art book was pretty slick, and so if this was of the same quality, I don't know. I generally don't buy collector's editions, but
you are going to buy this one. And then they revealed, Mark, we got an amiibo.
Yes, we did.
An amiibo for Link from Tears of the Kingdom. He's like kind of like crouching, or like it's a weird posture for this Link.
He has his little like atrophied hand.
Oh, he's got his hand, baby.
His beef jerky hand.
So that's that. And that amiibo and other Zelda amiibos change the fabric on your glider within the game. So a cool little cosmetic benefit there. Mark, we've reached the end of the direct. Is there anything here that like stood out to you as like the best, most exciting announcement, or any other thoughts you want to leave us with?
I really had fun with this direct. I was really enjoying like all the stuff that was available now, especially, I mean, really like the Metroid Prime one and the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. That stuff kind of blew my mind. It was so fun to just be able to just boot up the Switch and spend money to, or download this stuff. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. What about you, Patrick?
I gotta say, I'm thrilled that these new libraries come into the Switch, and that they dropped 2 of them at once, right? That they improved both the vanilla Nintendo Switch Online libraries and the Plus Expansion Pass libraries. Very, very cool. If you subscribe to this thing, you now have access to 6 video game libraries, classic video game libraries, Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99, DLC for Animal Crossing, for Splatoon 2, for others. It's amazing to me how much content there is there. And like I said before, it's exciting how much of this direct was backwards looking, because it just means that like maybe Nintendo's finally locking into like, here's a genuine way that we can keep our legacy content on machines that people are playing right now. Does make me wonder, or not wonder, but it makes me sort of nestle into the idea that we're not moving on from this hardware anytime soon.
Yes, I agree with that. I also think that, like, does this give credence to the idea that Nintendo's 2023 is light on like all new games?
I would say
and that
absolutely.
They're leaning on,
yeah.
like remasters for 2023.
Question. Is it weird that we got no Mario game here and no mention of Mario movie? Mario basically not present during this thing at all.
Yeah, not sad that we didn't get to mention a Mario movie. I feel like there's been a lot of marketing
we
for
got
that recently.
it.
Yeah. I am, however, surprised no Mario game yet, but it would be very surprising if we truly go a full year with no appearance of Mario at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to do a full direct with no Mario. I guess like mention of Mario Kart 8 DLC, like, does that count? I don't think that counts.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, let's close up our discussion of this Nintendo Direct. Of course, we would love to hear your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct, so email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and let us know what you thought. What were your favorite announcements? What did you think was missing from this? Any thoughts like that? You can also get into our Discord, send us an email, and we will happily invite you to it. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you to our 16-bit patron, Connor McCabe. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.